Fallout 3 perhaps the first game that you're actually being born into? Can you tell us about that experience?
Yeah, it is a bit of a unique way to start a game. So we like this idea from the original Fallout where it says you've lived your whole life in the vault. And we said, well, what would that be like if you actually spent the first part of the game sort of growing up in the vault? And so we start with you witnessing your own birth from a first-person perspective. And you don't see any of the nasty bits. But it starts with your birth, and you pick whether you want to play as a boy or a girl and what your name is. And so we sort of kind of naturally lead you through a character creation that's part of the process of you growing up in the vault and flashing through these different periods of your life. So you're learning a bit about this world of the vault that you're eventually going to leave and go out into the wasteland, and then also how to play the game and create your character kind of all at the same time.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start.
I also think that's one good illustration of how you use humor and lightheartedness in such a violent game. Is that something that you're very conscious about?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we think a lot about. I mean, this idea of a post-apocalyptic, post-nuclear landscape, it's very depressing. Everything's very destroyed and blown up, and people are really, scrounging to eke out an existence in this world. So whenever you can interject bits of appropriate humor, sometimes it's just situational, sometimes it's seeing things from this pre-war world where it was this very happy, optimistic existence that all gets blown up, and just giving the player little glimpses of these things and injecting a little humor keeps it from being just completely, depressing, and you just want to end it all because what's the point? It does give you a bit of levity and sort of plays off the darkness of the world that you're living in.
Going back to the special abilities and that sort of thing, you touched on the perception and how that works with the compass. Can you explain a little bit how that works?
Sure. So every attribute that you have, all of your specials, your strength determines how much stuff you can carry, amongst other things. Your agility is, how many action points you get to spend in VATS mode. Your perception determines when you're walking around, you have a little compass. It's pretty subtle in the corner that gives you a general idea of what direction you're heading. And you also get little indicators that let you know if there are other people nearby or if there's enemies nearby. And how far away your compass picks those people up is dependent on your perception. So if you give yourself, a really high perception, then you're going to be able to detect people and things much further away, whereas if it's very low or lower, you won't be able to detect them until you're much closer up. So it does give the player an advantage based on what their character is doing, and that's the whole idea, is that we want everything in the game to be impacted by your character and his or her stats and attributes, and not just you as the player and what it is you can do while you're playing the game.
So has that been a challenge to adapt this system into this game world and this different game from the original Fallout?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're pretty used to bringing role-playing stats into a first-person or an action environment where you want everything to be fun but still based on the stats and have it make sense. It's a bit tougher, actually, to pull off with guns and role-playing. Just that ranged nature of it is a little bit more difficult than somebody swinging a sword. But I think we've hit a pretty good balance of having the players' input into the game be meaningful, but having the character stats ultimately determine just how successful you're going to be at whatever it is you do in the game. So it has been a challenge. It's one of the things that it's why our games take a while to make, because we really spend a lot of time thinking about these things and playing through different iterations of it till we find the one that we think works best.